All right, today we're diving deep into Solid Power, a company right in the thick of the race to build the next generation of batteries. Their big idea? To totally revolutionize electric vehicles, starting with what's under the hood. We're going to look at their major wins in 2025, their unique strategy, and of course, the big question, do they have the cash to pull it all off? But hang on, before we get into it, just a quick but really important heads up. This whole breakdown is for educational purposes. We're just exploring the company's progress, so please, don't take any of this as financial advice. Okay, let's do this. So, to kick things off, check out this quote from Solid Power's CEO, John Van Scotter. He called 2025 a year of strong progress and execution. That sounds pretty confident, right? The question for us is, do the facts and figures actually back up that confidence? Well, let's dig in and find out. So here's our game plan. We'll start with what they built in 2025. Then we'll look at the powerhouse partners they're working with. After that, we'll get into the weeds of their core electrolyte strategy, take a hard look at their financials, and finally see what's on the horizon for 2026. Okay, first up, 2025. You could say this was the year Solid Power really started moving from paper plans to physical reality. It's all about getting out of the lab and onto the production line. And a huge piece of that puzzle is proving your tech with the biggest names out there. And honestly, that progress is best seen through their partnerships. In this industry, who you're working with says everything. It's like the ultimate vote of confidence, showing that these massive companies are taking you and your technology very, very seriously. And yeah, their partners are absolute heavyweights. First, they've got to deal with battery giant Samsung SDI to evaluate their tech. Then, they actually got their cells into a BMW i7 test car. That's a massive real-world step. And with SK On, they're getting their hands dirty, helping them install a pilot production line. See, these aren't just handshakes. These are deep, technical collaborations that prove the tech is legit. Now, let's zoom in on this SK On deal, because this is where the rubber really meets the road. They're not just talking, they're doing. They went from signing the agreement to getting the factory testing done, and now they're just about finished with the final site tests. This is the nitty-gritty essential work that actually turns a cool idea into a product you can manufacture. And all of this brings us right to the heart of Solid Power's entire strategy, the electrolyte. This special material is their crown jewel, their secret sauce. Their whole business model is built around it. So how are they going to scale it up? Now, this is absolutely key. Solid Power is not trying to become the next gigafactory. Instead, their plan is to be the Intel Inside for the battery world. They want to sell their special electrolyte material to the big battery makers and license out their cell designs. So think of them less as a competitor and more as a crucial technology supplier for the whole industry. And this right here, this is their single biggest milestone coming up. In 2025, they locked down the design for a continuous production pilot line for their electrolyte. The big target is to have that line up and running by the end of 2026. This isn't just a small step. It's the bridge from research to commercial scale production. Trust me, all eyes are on this one. Of course, amazing technology and great partners don't mean a thing if you run out of money. So let's switch gears and talk about the financials. For any company at this stage, it all comes down to one question. Do they have enough cash to actually finish what they started? So let's start with the big number. At the end of 2025, Solid Power had over $336 million in total liquidity. That's a solid cushion. But that number alone doesn't tell the whole story. What's really interesting is how they've been managing their money to fuel up for the long road ahead. To keep the engine running, they were actively raising capital. In 2025, they brought in nearly $90 million by selling shares directly into the market over time. It's a really savvy way to raise cash without all the drama of one big offering, and it shows they can tap the markets when they need to. And they didn't stop there. Right out of the gate in 2026, boom, they secured another $130 million. What that does is give them a really long runway to get that crucial electrolyte pilot line built, pretty much taking financial pressure off the table for a good while. So this table kind of puts it all together. And here's the key takeaway. Even while spending a ton on R&D, their total cash and securities actually grew from the end of 2024 to the end of 2025. How? Because of those smart capital raises we just talked about. It shows a clear strategy to fund their long-term vision. Okay, so they've got a strong financial base, they're making real technical progress, so what does the road ahead look like? Let's check out what the company itself is saying are its main goals for 2026. The game plan for 2026 is pretty straightforward: execution and discipline. It's all about delivering for their partners, hitting those electrolyte milestones, and staying competitive, all while being really smart with their cash. They expect to invest somewhere between 85 and 100 million for the year, which those recent fundraises should comfortably cover. And that brings us to our final big picture thought. You see, Solid Power is playing a different game. They're not trying to beat the giants at manufacturing. They're trying to supply them. So the real question is, by focusing on selling the picks and shovels, their electrolyte, are they setting themselves up to be a foundational technology provider for the entire EV industry? Well, that's the billion-dollar question. That's all for this breakdown on Solid Power's progress. Hey, if you found this useful, do us a favor and hit that like button and subscribe for more explainers on the tech that's shaping our world.